Hi, I'm Annie of ByAnnie.com and Patterns by Annie. Welcome to episode number 32 of Season 2 of Live with Annie. In today's episode, we're going to introduce our updated pattern Travel Duffle Bag 2.1. We'll talk about the features of this handy big duffel and share tips for gathering fabrics and supplies to make the bag. We'll also share some tips for using directional fabrics and naked strapping for handles, so stay tuned. I want to thank you all for joining us today. It's always a treat to see our regular viewers joining us from all over the world and to welcome new viewers too. We know that there are many things you could be doing with this time, and we really appreciate it when you make time to be with us. If you enjoy these episodes, please give us some hearts or thumbs up and take a minute to follow and like us wherever you are watching. If you know someone else who you think would enjoy the information that we share, we'd love it if you'd tell them about Live with Annie too. The easiest way to do that is to just tag them while you're watching. That will take them directly to the episode so they can watch it too. To tag someone, just type the @ symbol followed by the name that they use on whatever platform you're tagging them from. Their picture and name will pop up so you can make sure you've got the right person. If you do, click on that, type a message if you want, and then submit it. Finally, if you have any comments or questions as we go, please be sure to add them in the comments. We love interacting with you, and we will do our very best to answer any questions you might have before we close today. Last week, we had a wonderful visit with Amy Henley of Material Girls Quilt Boutique in La Plata, Maryland. She discussed how to use an embroidery machine when making ByAnnie projects. Amy shared lots of great tips for quilting as well as embellishing projects with monograms, embroidered designs, patches, and more. It was really awesome. So if you missed it or want to watch it again, just remember that you can find all the previous episodes of Live with Annie on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, or at ByAnnie.com. Jake will put up all the links to make them easy for you to find. As I said, today we are going to showcase our updated pattern, Travel Duffle Bag 2.1, which makes this large duffel bag. It will carry everything you need for travel and still fit in the overhead bin, though we always recommend that you confirm baggage regulations before you travel, as airline restrictions do change. This bag has pockets inside and out to keep everything organized and easy to access. And on back, there's even a trolley sleeve that makes it easy to slip the bag over the handles on rolling luggage. To me, that's especially important on a bag that's this big. So we are going to start today by playing an introduction and a closer look videos for Travel Duffle Bag 2.1. Then I will be back to talk about what you'll need to make the duffel, talk about what's changed from the previous versions, and discuss using webbing for the handles and straps. Hi, I'm Annie with ByAnnie.com and Patterns by Annie. I am excited to tell you about our pattern Travel Duffle Bag 2.1, which includes instructions for this stylish yet functional large duffel bag. The largest ByAnnie bag to date, it's perfect for carrying everything you need for a longer trip and catching some attention as you go. The unisex design of Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 makes it great for men or women, and its size makes it perfect for many uses. Skip checking a bag and carry clothes, shoes, toiletries, and more in one spacious bag. A zipper runs all the way across the top of the bag, providing easy access to everything inside. The duffel is sized to fit in the overhead bin, and unless it's packed really full, can be squished to fit in tight places. That said, note that airline restrictions do change, so be sure to confirm baggage regulations before you travel. Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 is constructed of quilted fabric, so it stands up and holds its shape, making it easy to add and remove items from the bag. On the outside of the bag are a variety of pockets for quick access. A slip pocket and 2 zippered pockets on front, perfect for a passport, phone, and keys, and 3 more slip pockets on the ends and back. They're ideal for items that you want to keep close at hand: a boarding pass, earbuds, snacks, small water bottle, hand lotion, and more. Inside are 3 more slip pockets made of fabric for added stability and privacy. The spacious interior of the bag will hold clothes, shoes, and other organizers. Carry using the durable attached handles, or keep your hands free and use the detachable padded carrying strap. That strap can be adjusted to whatever length is comfortable for carrying over the shoulder or crossbody to alleviate the weight. Or use the trolley sleeve on the back to slip the bag over the handles on rolling luggage. But Travel Duffle isn't just for travel. Use it to carry workout gear to the gym, sports gear to a game, tools and supplies to a quilt retreat, or blankets, food, and utensils on a picnic. The Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 pattern includes step-by-step instructions to make a professionally finished duffel, and is an update of the Travel Duffle Bag and Travel Duffle Bag 2.0 and 2 patterns, which were first released in 2013 and 2019. The new 2.1 version doesn't change the design of the bag, but we've changed a number of dimensions and rearranged the steps to make the pattern easier to read and follow. We also filmed an add-on video to help you with the more unique or challenging aspects of the pattern. You will love this new version. Ask for Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 at your local quilt shop or find it at ByAnnie.com. If you have more questions, be sure to watch the A Closer Look video, which gives more info about gathering supplies and customizing the project. Hi, I'm Annie with ByAnnie.com and Patterns by Annie, and I'd like to give you a little more information about our pattern Travel Duffle Bag 2.1. This pattern includes instructions for making a functional yet stylish large duffel bag. The majority of the bag is assembled while it is flat, making construction easy. Then a zipper is attached to the body to form a loop, and the ends are attached to finish the bag. The Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 pattern recommends that you use 3 fabrics for the duffel bag: a main fabric for the exterior, a lining fabric for the interior, and a coordinating fabric. The coordinating fabric is used for the handles and straps, inner pocket and sleeve, and bindings. Directional fabrics will work fine for this project, and the pattern includes tips for their use. The majority of the bag is made using quilted fabric, which you'll create by quilting the main and lining fabrics with Soft and Stable. You may quilt the fabrics on a domestic machine, or to make better use of the fabric and save time and effort, on a long arm machine. Cutting layouts are included for both options. If you need more information about quilting, please check out our free patterns, Peacekeeper and Easy Does It. You'll find lots of tips for quilting in the add-on videos for those projects. You will find a full list of supplies on the back cover of the Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 pattern. If you don't yet have the pattern, you can also find the list on the pattern's product page at ByAnnie.com. Just click on the Supply List tab. We've had such fun making these bags and wanted to show you some of the fabric combinations that we used. As you'll see, just by varying the fabrics, you can get a lot of different looks. This mostly solid batik bag would be perfect for any athlete. They can carry workout gear and clothes for a trip to the gym or sports gear to a game. My daughter would love this bag for work trips. It can hold her laptop and business papers, as well as clothes and personal items. This fun floral bag would be perfect to take on a picnic. It's big enough to carry a blanket to spread on the ground, as well as paper plates, utensils, food, and more. Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 would also be a great bag for organizing all your projects and supplies for a quilting retreat. It's big enough to hold and a place for everything packed with thread, notions, and supplies, a running with scissors with all your tools, and a couple of pack-it-in cases with fabrics, more threads, and project pieces. There's even room to throw in some quick zip cases and clam-ups with wonder clips, cords, and more. With everything contained in one bag, carrying will be extra easy. Just set it on top of your wheeled sewing bag or use the trolley sleeve to slip the bag over the handles of your suitcase. Note that we customized this bag by attaching the zippers on the front pockets so that they both close to the center of the bag. The pattern includes tips for doing that. For this bag, we used Tula Pink's new 1.5-inch webbing in place of fabric-covered straps. We made fabric tabs for the ends of the straps to avoid any fraying on the ends. Any teen would love this bag for school trips or family vacations. We made this Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 using a combination of 2 sets of quilted fabrics. For the body and ends of the bag, we used a vibrant black with multicolored feathers. To liven things up even more, we featured Kaif's multicolored flowers for all the exterior pockets. This is a great way to use quilted fabric left over from other projects. A fun black and white geometric print added a nice pop for the handles, straps, and bindings. If you want to vary the fabrics and supplies used for the bags you make, you are welcome to do that. Just know that you will have to come up with your own cutting diagrams and may need different amounts of fabrics than what is called for on the supply list. Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 makes a great weekend sewing project for confident beginners to more advanced makers. The design of the bag is very straightforward and most of the assembly is done on a flat piece. The project involves basic skills used in many ByAnnie patterns. To help ensure success, we filmed an add-on video too. It will help you conceptualize the project and take you step by step through the more unique parts of the pattern. The Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 pattern is fun to make. This stylish duffel bag will help you organize and access your belongings and keep everything contained at home or on the road. We can't wait to see what you make and how you use this versatile bag, so be sure to share pictures of your finished projects with us. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Okay, I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about how Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 is designed and ways that you can use it. As you saw, construction is very straightforward, and I know you will enjoy making and using these sturdy and stylish duffels. There are so many ways you can customize them, and they really make great gifts for anyone who travels. Let's talk a little more about the supplies that you'll need to make Travel Duffle Bag 2.1. So as we said in the video, the pattern calls for 3 fabrics for each bag. A main fabric for the exterior, a lining fabric for the interior, and a coordinating fabric for everything else. We filmed a bird's eye view video for this project that's part of the add-on video series, and it shows you where all of the pieces are used. So be sure and check that out when you're ready to start choosing your fabrics and making your bag. You are really going to love that new video. So one thing to remind you of is that the fabric that you use for the outside of the bag is made with the body of the bag is just one big piece of fabric. So it wraps all the way around to form the top, the front, the bottom, and the back of the bag. So if you are using directional fabrics, be sure to follow the special instructions that are included in the pattern. The basic thing that you want to know is that there are 2 different ways you can deal with directional fabrics, and they're dependent on whether you deal with them before you quilt or after the fabric has been quilted. If you are quilting on a domestic machine, we recommend dealing with the directionality before you quilt, because in that method, rather than cutting one long piece for the body of the bag, you're going to cut 2 shorter pieces. Then you're going to turn them so that the bottoms of the designs are together and join those pieces with a 1/2 inch seam. One thing that I wanted to mention is that I got an email just a couple days ago from a customer who had a question about that step in the pattern, and she noticed that we had a mistake. So it told you what sizes to cut those pieces, and it said turn them so that the bottoms are together, but the number that it told you to sew them together on was actually the side dimension instead of the bottom dimension. So I fixed it on the pattern. I've asked my team to post a correction on our corrections page. I just did that last night before I left work. I haven't had a chance to check to see if it got up yet, but it will be coming soon. And that's a reminder for you too. Anytime you make a ByAnnie bag, please check the corrections page before you start. We work really, really hard to make sure that our patterns are accurate, but sometimes something like this slips past every one of us, and we count on eagle-eyed customers to notify us of things like that. So that, again, if you're using it and doing it before you quilt, cut your 2 pieces, rotate them so the tops are at the top, sew them together, and then you're good to go. If you're using pre-quilted fabric, which is what we did on this bag, we went ahead and cut the full-sized piece for the body, and then we cut it in half and rotated the 2 pieces so that the bottoms of the designs were together, and then we joined those with strips of fabric. So we have a video that gives full instructions for both of those methods. It's called Using Directional Fabrics. You can find it in your digital library. You can find it on the tutorials tab. We also showed it in season 2, episode 25. So it's out there in lots of places for you to get all the information from that. So again, as we said, this pattern calls for 3 fabrics, but if you want to mix things up, you can certainly add additional fabrics. You can do fabrics in different places. There's a lot of chance for customizing it to be what you want. So on this bag, that's what we did. We used 1 quilted fabric for the body of the bag. We used a different quilted fabric for the ends, and then a 3rd quilted fabric for the pockets on the front, the sides, and on the back. So this was really a great way to use some leftover pieces from other projects. I can see here we used the same fabric for the trolley sleeve as we used for the body. So just know that if you do mix things up, as we said in the closer look video, you're going to need to figure out your yardage requirements and how to lay them out of those various fabrics. But there's not a ton of pieces for this project, so it's really pretty easy to do. All right, the other thing that you're going to need for making your bag is some thread. You need thread for both the quilting and assembling, and the thread that we use and love is So Fine number 50. It's made by Superior Threads. It's a 50 weight polyester thread, which means it's not too heavy, but it's polyester, so it has a little bit of stretch, and it just works really, really well for sewing bags together. We do recommend, as you choose threads, that you match all the fabrics, because at different times you're sewing on basically all of them, and also match your zippers as well. To give your bag great body and stability, you're going to use ByAnnie Soft and Stable between the layers as you quilt it, and you're going to need 1.5 yards of 58-inch wide Soft and Stable to make this. So if you're buying it in the package, we recommend that you purchase a 2-yard package. That's your best buy. You're going to have some leftover Soft and Stable to use for another project or two. And keep in mind that Soft and Stable comes in black or in white. We like to use black if we're using dark fabrics, because it really enhances those. We use white if we're using lighter fabrics. I will admit that most of the time we use white, because even if we're using a dark fabric on the outside, we're usually using a lighter fabric on the lining side, and the white really brightens that and doesn't gray it down. If you are quilting on a domestic machine, the pattern is going to include instructions for quilting 2 different sets. One of those is used to cut the body. The other is used for the ends, the pockets, the trolley sleeve, and the carrying strap pad. But the pattern also includes instructions for cutting everything from 1 piece of quilted fabric. So that's a really great option if you choose to quilt your fabrics on a long arm machine. What I like about that method is it makes best use of the fabrics, and you're going to probably have enough quilted fabric left over for at least another small project, maybe even two. So that's a good way to make best use of your quilted fabric. So the other thing that you're going to need, I've got one of the bags turned inside out here so you can see the slip pockets that's on the inside. And for that, we use some fusible interfacing to give some stability to that fabric. And we like to use the ByAnnie fusible interfacing, which is Shape Flex 101. This is only 19 to 20 inches wide. The piece that you need to cut is 21 inches wide. So what I do is I cut a strip across the width, and then I just use my scraps to cut another narrow piece for the side so I can get the full width that I need for this bag. You're also going to need some zippers for your bag. You've got one 28-inch or longer double slide zipper that goes on the top, and then you've got two 10-inch or longer single slide zippers for the side pockets on the front. And you can make those using a minimum of 48 inches of zipper tape and 3 pulls from your Zippers by the Yard package, or you can use two 30-inch zippers. So one will be used for the top, the other one will be cut into to make the two pockets or zippers for the pockets on the front. And the pattern does include instructions for doing that if that's something that's new to you. Okay, the pattern is also designed to have quick grab handles, so you can just grab it and carry it like that. It also has an detachable carrying strap with a pad. And when we make these, we reinforce these fabric tubes using strapping. So we like to use fabric for our handles so that it can exactly match our project. And because we're using fabric on the outside and just using the strapping on the inside, we carry that just in black or white. So choose the color that best matches the fabric for you, that you're using. You also are going to need, if you put on the carrying strap, you're also going to need some hardware. So you need two D-rings or triangle rings for attaching the carrying strap to the tabs on the bag. Actually, we do not have D-rings available in 1.5-inch size, so I would definitely recommend the triangle rings for that. You also need, for the adjustable detachable strap, 2 swivel hooks for attaching it to the bag and a wide mouth slider to make it adjustable. And at ByAnnie, we carry this hardware in antique brass, black metal, which you can see here, and nickel. I don't see a bag anywhere handy with nickel, but it's a silver look. So you can pick just the perfect color for your project. All right, so on this bag right here, instead of making fabric handles, we used the new webbing that Renaissance Ribbons and Tula Pink have designed, and just skipped cutting the fabric for the handles, the carrying strap, and tabs, and just used the webbing naked as it is. So there's just a few minor changes that you'll need to do that. First, again, our patterns are designed so that you make fabric tubes and pull strapping into them to give them strength and stability. But when we do that, like for instance, when we make these tabs that go on the end, we usually stop the strapping before it gets to the bottom, so the fabric extends into the seam allowance, but the strapping doesn't. That really helps avoid the bulk down here in these bottom seams. But if you're not using the fabric, you're going to want to include the webbing going all the way into the seam so that you don't have raw edges of it in your pocket. So what we would recommend is cut the webbing to the length that the pattern directs you to cut for the fabric handles and straps. You'll notice when you look at those that they're usually about 1 inch longer than what the strapping is designed to be, or what you're going to cut from the strapping. So follow the size for the fabric rather than for the strapping, and you should be fine. The other thing to keep in mind is that this webbing tends to fray really easily along the ends. So Tula recommends burning them, which I like to do too. It makes them a little bit rough on the end. I don't really like the way it looks. So we also chose to cover the ends with something to prevent fraying. And on this one, we just did a fabric, folded some fabric. And what I think would be really easy to do is just to make a tube as if you were making a handle. Cut a short piece so it would be finished on each side, turn the ends under, and then fold it over your fabric. So on here, I think we just folded it and then sewed along the edge and did that before we did our X, so that line of stitching went through it too. On this one, where's the other handle? So for this little get out of town bag, we also did the Tula Pink webbing, and on here we covered the ends with vinyl, and that was super simple and easy. We just took a scrap of vinyl that was a little bit wider than the strapping, a little bit bigger than this. We folded in half over the end, we stitched along it, and then just trimmed the vinyl to match the edges. So that gives it a really sturdy finish, and it's going to make sure that you don't have fraying there. So that's two ways that you can do that. When you put it in your seams, obviously those ends are covered by your bindings, so you're not going to have to worry about those. All right, so that's the handles and straps. The last thing that your pattern is going to call for, this pattern is designed so that we make a fabric stabilizer sleeve that covers a base stabilizer, and then you insert that in the bottom of the bag to give it a nice firm base and make it so it's not poochy at the bottom. And we carry a stabilizer designed specifically for this bag. It's our BS 180 stabilizer, and it fits perfectly. You could also make your own. You could cut some foam board. Here's a piece that I had cut out of foam board. You could use corrugated plastic, which is like corrugated cardboard made out of plastic. Personally, for a bag of this size, I much prefer the acrylic stabilizer. You can see on this one, this was one that was in a bag, not even this bag, but after carrying, it starts to bend and crack and just doesn't seem to have the same stability as the acrylic stabilizer. So once you've got your sleeve made, then you just take your acrylic stabilizer, slide it inside, and then I turn the edge that doesn't have a seam in it over the top, turn the other end in, and that holds your stabilizer in, makes it really easy, and then you can just insert this, push it into the bottom of the bag, and it gives you a nice firm base. The great thing about this is when you're ready to launder the bag, you just pull this out. You can send the sleeve through the laundry, but you don't have the stabilizer going through. And that makes me remember to tell you, don't forget that bags that you make using Soft and Stable are completely machine washable and dryable. I will admit that I don't usually put them in the dryer. I don't like to listen to the hardware banging around, so I just let them air dry. But placemats and things that don't have hardware, I throw in the dryer all the time. I do recommend that you take the carrying strap off before you send it through the wash and put that in a mesh laundry bag before you wash so that it doesn't bang around and get caught around everything too. One more drink of water here. All right, next I want to talk about how this pattern has changed from the previous versions. As you heard in the intro video, this is an updated version of the original Travel Duffle Bag, the Travel Duffle Bag 2.0, and the Travel Duffle Bag Roman numeral 2 patterns that were first released in 2013 and 2019. The major reason that we updated this pattern was so that we could film an add-on video to go with it. The pattern had already been updated to our new design. It had professional illustrations. We really didn't have any design changes that we wanted to make, and we and others have had great success sewing lots of beautiful travel duffel bags using the pattern just as it was designed. But in order to include an add-on video, we have to create a new product, and if we're going to do that, we aren't going to just film a video and call it good. So as always, when we update a pattern, we review questions and comments that customers have sent us over the years. We look at the pattern from every angle to determine if there are ways to improve it, and we send it through the very same rigorous testing process as if it was a new pattern. So as we tested Travel Duffle 2.1, we sewed 14 new models, reviewing and fine-tuning the pattern as we went. One thing in particular we looked at as we updated this pattern was whether there were other ways to attach the binding. We tried the popular binding hack that a lot of people really like. In the end, we decided we liked our original version better, but we tried it. We tested various binding widths, and we did decide on this one to make the binding 2.5 inches, which is a little wider than we normally do. It's a little bit loose on the inside, but with all the layers, when you get down to the bottom, it worked better. So that was, we kept that as it was in the previous version. We also worked with a number of outside testers who sewed models and gave us input. And as we're testing, we really look at every single word. We agonize, we argue over words, we rearrange steps to give you the easiest and best results, and we also fine-tune the illustrations. So we went through 27 different versions before we came up with a final version of Travel Duffle 2.1. For comparison, for Night and Day, which is the little bag you see back here, which is one of our brand new patterns, we had 31 versions. So an update to a pattern is really every bit as much work and expense as coming up with a new pattern. Leslie tells me sometimes she thinks it's even more. But in the end, the major changes to the Travel Duffle Bag 2.1 pattern involved filming an add-on video to help with selected steps, significantly rearranging the steps in the pattern to make them easier to follow, and adding 2 more illustrations. We also updated the text as well as the layout and design, and that added 3 more pages to the pattern. So for instance, this new version includes the very helpful "For this step you will need" section at the beginning of steps. Having that list of what you need for steps is so very helpful, and it really reduces the number of words that we have to include in the instructions. So it is a real nice benefit. But if you look at the bag itself, it's basically the same. And I wanted to bring up one of the older versions so I can kind of show you how they compare. I'm going to get this one off the table. Excuse me. And we're going to bring up this one. So let's clean up our table a little bit so we got room to show. So this one is a little bit different because it's got the webbing on it, but you can see it's basically, the design is basically the same. We made some very minor changes to the dimension of the new pattern to help things fit together a little bit better. But as you can see, they still look pretty much identical. So this is Travel Duffle Original, or number 2. This is Travel Duffle 2.1. So your question is, if you have the older version, do you need to buy the new one? My response to that is absolutely not. We know that you are going to get great results making the bag using the Roman numeral 2 or 2.0 patterns, just as we and many other makers have. And if you have the older pattern but want video support, you can purchase the add-on video for the 2.1 version for just $5. The video applies to all the older versions of the pattern, and in the video steps, we include the appropriate step numbers from those patterns so you can find your place in the pattern. That said, remember that the new pattern includes a coupon to get the add-on video at no charge. So for just $9.95, if you buy it from us, you get both the pattern and the video. So that means you're basically paying less than $5 for the updated version. And in my opinion, just having that "For this step you will need" section at the beginning of the steps makes updating to the newer version worth every penny. But of course the choice is yours. Again, we know you are going to have great results with the previous versions of the pattern. So I hope you enjoyed learning more about this sturdy duffel bag, and I know you're going to enjoy making and using it. As always, please remember to ask for the patterns and supplies at your local quilt shop. If they don't have them, they can certainly get them, either from us or from their favorite distributor. Local quilt shops are the lifeblood of your sewing community, and we all need to do everything we can to keep them strong and in business. And of course, if you don't have a local quilt shop, you can also find them at ByAnnie.com. All right, let's go on now. It looks like there's only one question that was asked. Can you give a rough how much webbing to add when using just webbing rather than covering the strapping? So I think probably that question was sent in before I covered it. But basically follow what the pattern says for the fabric. It's going to be, for this project, probably about 4 inches extra, so not a whole lot more. Would you use Travel Duffle with a sewing machine? I personally don't think that this is a great bag to put a portable sewing machine in, mostly because the zipper on the top only goes to the end here on each side. So it doesn't open as wide as a bag where the zipper comes all the way down the sides. So like on Ultimate Travel, where the zipper comes all the way down the side, it's much easier to get a sewing machine in. Take a stand where you could put a small sewing machine in the biggest one, opens completely all the way. So if you have a small enough machine, perhaps you could put it in here, but it wouldn't be my choice for carrying a sewing machine. I would pick Round Trip Duffle and take a look at it and maybe make adjustments to it, because on it, so Travel Duffle and Get Out of Town are designed so that you've got, this is all one piece of fabric, and then you sew the ends on. On Ultimate Travel and Round Trip Duffle is also designed the same way. We have a front and we have a back, and then this is all one piece that goes around. So when you open this, the zipper comes part way down on each side. And if you were going to put something like a sewing machine in there, that's going to make it much easier to get it in and out. So that would be my suggestion on those bags. Is the side wide enough to put the trolley sleeve? So put the trolley sleeve on this end. I think so. Actually, I don't remember the measurements, and well, I do have a ruler here. Let's take a look. If I can figure out. It's about an inch less than what the trolley sleeve is, and I'm not sure that would be enough, but again, it wouldn't take a whole lot to make this wider. Whatever you add to the width here, if you want it to make your bag deeper, you'd need to add double to the height of this to get it to fit. So I would add another inch to 2 inches if you want it to put that on a trolley sleeve. Like if you want it to put it on your, like we showed in the video where I put it on my Tutto bag, you could certainly add one there. So that's an idea. All right, I don't see any other questions. Thank you, Leslie, for posting those. Now that Brooke's gone, Leslie's my question person. So thank you, Leslie. We really appreciate you. I hope you're feeling good today. She's not been feeling too good lately, so hopefully you're better. All right, we want to remind you all that the All Illinois Shop Hop is taking place throughout the month of August and all the way until the end of September. This, again, is organized by Shop Hop Inc. There are almost 60 shops participating in this fabulous shop hop, and you can just go to their website, which we'll put up for you, to learn about what shops are participating. They've got some exclusive fabrics and lots of exciting prizes. And we would really love to see photos of any ByAnnie models or displays that you see when you go visit any of those shops or other quilt shops throughout the summer. So be sure and send those to us. We love seeing them. Let's move on now to our featured local quilt shops of the week. At ByAnnie, as we've said often, we are all about supporting local quilt shops, and one of the ways that we do that is by hosting a local quilt shop contest each year. During the contest, we encourage people to vote for their favorite quilt shop and share a little bit about what makes them special. I gotta have another drink. I usually put notes in my script to drink water, and I forgot to do that this time, and I'm not remembering. And it's catching up with me. So after the quilt contest, we like to include or continue that fun throughout the year. So each week we highlight a store or two, sometimes three, and share some of the voter submissions during Live with Annie. So this week we are featuring 2 shops, each of whom has a ByAnnie trunk show on display right now. So we're going to start in Casper, Wyoming at Cottontails Quilt Company. This store offers a large variety of fabrics, notions, patterns, and classes, and they are going to have their ByAnnie trunk show on display throughout the whole month of August. To celebrate, owner Felicia Cisco tells me that all ByAnnie products are 10% off for the month of August. And you can find a little gnome and get even more discounts. So Felicia sent a photo of a really beautiful night and day that was made by her talented teacher, Carla Aurelius. I think it's a perfect one to carry for fall. So be sure to mark your calendar for demo days with Carla. They're going to be from 10 to 2 p.m. on August 18th, August 20th, and August 25th. So she's doing those 3 different times. And during those, Carla is going to demonstrate different aspects of the bags, and she's also going to be on hand to answer any questions that you might have about ByAnnie bags. So customer Leanne, when she voted for the store, she listed what she loves about the shop. She started with great people. She said, I love the classes, and I buy lots of fabrics for my stash. So be sure if you're in the Casper, Wyoming area to check out Cottontail's Quilt Company. All right, let's move on now to Illinois to visit Quilting in the Valley, who is also known as QITV. Dreams do come true, and no one dreams bigger than its owner, Lisa Furley, who started her first quilt shop just 7 years ago in a tiny building in downtown LaSalle, Illinois. Fast forward a few years, and Quilting in the Valley is now 5 shops strong and growing. In addition to the flagship store in LaSalle, QITV, that's hard to say, has Illinois stores in Moline, Champaign, and Peoria, as well as a store in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. And all of these stores are open 7 days a week. There is also a beautiful retreat center in Manitowoc, which looks like a delightful place to settle in and sew with friends. Quilting in the Valley is passionate about making quilting and creating fun, inclusive, easy, and enjoyable. Dealers for Bernina, Westerly, AccuQuilt, and more, QITV is a boutique superstore and has over 4,000 bolts of fabric, as well as notions, gifts, and tools. Lisa presents a weekly live each Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time, in which she shares jokes, prizes, tutorials, guest speakers with goodies, and an overview of all the neat stuff that came in that week. In last week's episode, Lisa introduced a new ByAnnie Project of the Month program that they will be offering as a monthly subscription program starting in September. And this is going to be online. Each month for 12 months, you will receive the fabrics, trims, and pattern to make a skill-building ByAnnie project. By the end of the year, you will have 12 usable or giftable projects, as well as the skill set to do more complicated ByAnnie bag patterns. We are going to put up the links to that in case you are interested. And their ByAnnie trunk show, which will be on display at the LaSalle store throughout the month of September, features these 12 projects, so be sure to stop in and check them out. I have to check that date. I'm wondering if that's it is throughout the month of September. I'm right. Okay, so customers who voted in this year's LQS contest praised the store's friendly, helpful, and encouraging owner and staff. Marie said, Lisa, the owner, is on Facebook Live sometimes several times a week for sales, especially in the winter when many can't get to the shop, educational tutorials, showcasing new arrivals, or just letting us know that we'll be fine during this pandemic. And Bobby wrote, their super friendly staff is always ready to hear about your projects and help without making you feel less than. Valley girls are always planning great classes, trips, fun sales, live videos, and helping the community. And Tara wrote, I love everything this shop offers. It was very much needed. Live interactions with Lisa, live sales and deals, and exciting block of the month clubs at reasonable rates. Again, remember that QITV will have a ByAnnie trunk show on display in the store throughout the month of September, so stop in and check it out. And be sure to get details for their new online ByAnnie Project of the Month subscription program too. So we want to thank you again to everyone who joined us today. We are going to be back next week at 2 p.m. Mountain Time with a really fun episode of Live with Annie, when we will introduce our last updated pattern, Pack It In 2.0. You are going to love learning all about these handy packing cubes, and we've got lots of great models to show and tips to share, so be sure to join us then. we've also got, I already said that. Until then, happy stitching.